So, hi there. We are here on the Gutenberg Live channel and have with us Greg Ziolkowski and Fabian Kägy, and both will show us. We are here on the will show us how the future vision of the great block scaffolding tool that comes with Gutenberg, and Fabian is going to show us also how to extend it and make it your own to have more productive block development. So I'll take myself out of it and I'll turn it over to Craig.
Okay, let me share my screen first.
Yeah.
Just I want to show some background, like present some background what we are trying to do here. So we are aware that everyone is trying to create their own blocks, and so far it was quite hard to do it because of all the requirements, like using JavaScript tooling around that and everything else. So we started this process a long time ago because we use a very advanced JavaScript tooling inside Gutenberg project, but we figure out that it would be great if we could share that with the community. So this is how we created NPM packages. So if you go to NPM, and you will find there's organization called WordPress. And there are, like, as of today, 73 packages. And there are two of them that we want to cover today. The most important one is create block. As you can see on this demonstration, it's just a way to create your block with one line of code. There are a few ways of doing that. And at the moment, it supports 2 code templates. So it's like the way in how the block would look like after the scaffolding ends. One of them is using ES5, which is the standard of JavaScript that is like very old. It's 10 years, and it's also something that WordPress developers in the past used for jQuery. So we wanted to bridge that and provide this template. However, we will focus today on ESNext and JSX based template that contains all the build tools, linters, formatters, stuff like this. And behind the scenes, this solution, the second one I mentioned, it contains also another package which is called WordPress scripts. And WordPress scripts, it's a it's a collection of different scripts as outlined here for working with JavaScript, CSS. There are some capabilities for unit testing, end-to-end tests, and so on and so on. It's not that important here, but the idea is that once you run this create block, it creates an environment that is ready to work. So you don't have to worry about finding what tool do you need to use, how what kind of language features you want to use, or the social. So everything is scaffolded for you, it's ready for use. And maybe let me show an example how that could work. So let's say I'm running npm init WordPress block, and this is, something happens, code is downloaded from NPM, which is registry for packages. And then you have a CLI prompt that asks you to customize your block. So this is a way to, make it simple for you, for everyone to create their first block, but also at first, it allows you to change some default settings to avoid the situation when you have to go through the code and do like a search and new place techniques and stuff like this. So let's say we can provide namespace. It's not that important what kind of things we are providing here. The whole idea is that those are things, if you ever build a block, you should be familiar with that. So this is something that allows you to create your blog, like category, title, description. It's everything that's visible in the UI. But there is also this part related to the plugin. So this is that Birgit mentioned to me once, that it would be cool if this blog created, it could be also a plugin at the same time. So we have this supported now. So you provide also the list of authors, everything that you require if you want to publish your plugin to the WordPress repository. So license and the version. Once that starts, then there's the process in between. So the folder is scaffolded, and also what's important here, the dependencies like WordPress scripts are behind the scene installed for you. So this will end like in half a minute or something like that, and you will have everything that is ready to work with. And what we are trying to do now is, Fabian, he proposed this approach that rather than using only those recommended templates for how block definition will look like, we want to allow also third-party packages hosted on NPM that would allow you to create a bit customized experience. However, we want to have this baseline, like the thing you could see now, how the CLI looks like, how it works. That should be quite close, for at least for now. However, using all the values that user enter during this process, we can provide quite nice experience. Also, I want to highlight these efforts that Anne recently posted in this issue on GitHub in the Gutenberg repository. So the whole point, from my perspective, that we are trying to do is to make the first step magical. So we envision the future when there is also this huge project blog directory that allows to install blocks directly from the inserter. So rather than going to the plugin repository and installing your plugin as before, you would just type inside the inserter, and if the keyword you type doesn't have any matches inside your editor, then it will just go to the new blog directory, which is like a specific for plugin for blogs that are JavaScript based initial approach. And with that, you would be able to install this blog. So we want to bridge that two concepts at some point. So we want to have this component that you could quickly craft your own blog, publish it to this blog repository, and then user could install it while working. So it's like there are a few things that we want to converge into one coherent experience. And to make this step magical, we also want to simplify the way you manage, like you use documentation for WordPress. So today, if you go to developer WordPress docs, there is this there is this this handbook, and if you go to tutorials and go to blogs, you see there are lots of examples that you need to copy over. There is a way to make it simpler by copying from Gutenberg examples repository that we also maintain. So you have those examples in here. So the idea is that thanks to what Fabian is working on, we would be able to, rather than copy, just run the same command by putting the name of the template like this. So let's say at the moment we support also ES5. So it will just create something different. So it, you know, ES5, it has also different defaults and things like that. So now let me maybe show what I just created. So ES5 example, you see it right now. It contains only five files, and it's pretty basic, and it's using ES5 in here. If I would open another scaffolded project, what was the name? Demo today. It's way much more complex. It contains several things that were created behind the scenes, like package.json file. There's source folder. Files are, because we are using ES Next, we can use ES module, so you can split files into smaller chunks and things like this. So the idea is that instead of going to these Gutenberg examples and going in here, downloading into your, or cloning this repository and copying it over to your WordPress installation, you could just go and run this one line, and that would like drive you through the whole process and allow you to make this block. So once that's ready, then you can just go to your WordPress instance and activate this plugin, and it's ready to work. And also because this is ES5, so if when I open terminal, and I run npm start, it will just start, you know, all the building. And once you start the development process, behind the scenes, everything is covered for you. So like you can see right now, if I would go here and say import and bring dependency, when I save it, it triggers refresh. So every time I change something here, maybe let me show it this way because it's quite fast. It rebuilds. So those are tools that are included in this setup, and that's something that's quite exciting. And Fabian, can you explain what was the whole idea from your side to get into this idea with templates hosted on NPM?
Sure. So what I think in order for me to appear on screen, you need to stop sharing for a second. Or yeah, this seems to work. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So kind of the problem in mind was that there are these two templates that you can start with, the ES Next or ES5 template. But several times when you're working in a company, when you're building multiple plugins, when there are just different approaches, different ways that you like to structure your code, different things like, for example, the new way that the block repository has different ways to structure the actual plugin than, for example, a normal Gutenberg plugin. And it would be cool to kind of make that a bit easier to just have anybody be able to contribute a template, and then being able to use the same scaffolding tool that's already there to just use your template or use the template that somebody else created, and roll from there. Just have the magical experience with your own template or with a template that somebody else built. And
yeah, that was cool.
The idea.
So yeah, I guess I covered all that you wanted. So just to recap, so our goal is when you go to this tutorial inside the block editor handbook. So the first thing you would have is just this comment that one line comment that we provide a template name. They would the same way as I did it for ES5. So that would be that. So calling this like with this template name. So for every step, you would have a different template provided. And this way, someone who wants to build a blog, they could just start and go run all those comments and just build up on that their own experience, or just go to the last step and just build the most complex and start from this stage to building their own code. Oh, I'm not sharing screen, so you can't see. Anyway, I think that could be much more powerful rather than copying over code from those tutorials. There are often mistakes that people catch after time, but I'm sure that some people, they don't have this opportunity to go to the Gutenberg repository and file an issue or even PR. So that's why we want to make it much easier. And yes, so maybe now, should I do some tour over code? Or maybe Fabian, maybe you could do that because you are new to it, but that would show us the experience that someone can have if they would like to contribute to this, because we see that as an opportunity to bring more people to get interested into improving all those tools that we have already.
Sure. So should we just take one of the Gutenberg examples, just pick one out and try to make that a new template for it? Yeah. And then once we kind of build that in just the template folder inside what's currently there, we can take a look at the PR that I created and show how it'll work once that is merged.
Yeah, you could also start with the higher level things, how, you know, the packages, where you can find the package, how you can, how it's structured. So also those extension points. Because what you are describing now is something that will be external. Today, we will just show how you can build inside the project your own template. However, it will be as simple as breaking out those folder that you will create and publishing into NPM with some additional metadata.
Sure. Then let me share my screen. There. So I have cloned the full Gutenberg repository. Let me start by just, if I go to GitHub and search for WordPress Gutenberg, I can find the actual Gutenberg repository where all the development happens. And the different packages, like the create block package that we're working on today, are all inside the packages folder. And yeah, there's, like you showed earlier, loads of them that are published to NPM, and they are all, the source is coming from within this packages folder. And I have cloned this whole repository onto my local machine, and I'm just opening that up.
Could you show this button, clone or download, so people know how to do it?
Sure. Okay. Just on the top right here, you have the option to clone or download, and if there are, you can either use the actual command to do it in your terminal, or there's a tool from that's maintained from GitHub, GitHub desktop, that when you click the open a desktop button, it clones it that way as well.
Yeah, I think there you're also using fork to do, so there is on the top right this fork button that you need to click if you want to do something. It might be even more automated these days. I don't remember.
Yeah, when you click on the fork button, you've seen that I've already created a fork. You can basically select one of your organizations or your private account and create a fork, and then it creates a copy of the entire of the repository, and then you can work on your local copy. And when you then are happy with the changes that you've made, you can submit a pull request, but we can look at that later. Cool. So with that cloned, I can open it up. And again, I have the same folder structure that you can see on NPM, where I have the packages folder with all of the different packages in here. And Craig, do you want to walk through any others, or should we just jump into the?
I don't think it's relevant at this stage. So, of course, so the thing that I showed you on NPM website, there is 73 packages, so all of them are in this same folder. So it's maybe not all of them because some of them are private, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So we have all of the
Yeah, it makes it easier to discover. If you want just to contribute to the one of the packages you are using, you will go to this folder and you will quickly, based on the name, find it in this folder.
Yeah. And when you're only working, what I sometimes like to do, because it's sometimes feels a little bit overwhelming when you have so much stuff going on here. So in some of the packages, I just navigate to it in my Finder and just open up, for example, the create block, just open that up directly, and then I have only the files that I'm looking at. And when I want to actually commit something, I can go back and do stuff in the actual Gutenberg repository. But for now, I just have the files open that we're actually working on. And so this is the actual create block package that Greg showed earlier. This is where the magic is happening. And you can see there is a templates folder inside of here that has the two templates that Craig showed. There's the ES5 one, and then there's the ES next one. And when I look into these folders, they're these .mustache files. So for each file that gets created, that gets scaffolded out, there's this mustache file that already has everything that we've seen earlier in it, just with the addition of just some variables. So basically under the hood, it's taking these files, replacing the variables with whatever you put into the prompts that you'll get asked, and then removing the .mustache at the end and creating your the scaffolded plugin for you. And with that, kind of the idea is to add another template to it, and then that can be used that way.
Yeah, so just to recap or remind what I said earlier, so we will want to provide a few more templates that would align with the tutorials that we will have. We will update for block creation. So then will be like step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on, to make it all easier. So they will be quite similar, but they will build up on each other this way.
Cool. Do you have a preference of which of the Gutenberg examples we should take, or should we just start from the beginning to convert one of those?
I know you can just copy ES next and just go to the basic one, and you just probably have to remove some code at first. That will be much easier to follow.
Sure.
So you have to find Gutenberg example. So once you are looking for that, I just wanted to say that the choice for mustache that wasn't made based on my previous contribution to the WP CLI, that also has a very basic support for creating blocks. It creates the ES5 version, so it's nearly the same as the one that you can find this templates folder and the one I showed you also when I ran the command. And so the WP CLI, it has a lot of history. So I'm sure that their choice is the right one. I didn't want to, break that, because although those tools are JavaScript based, they use the Node.js, and WP CLI is PHP based. However, those libraries are universal and work across. Also, that could be a way for in the future, if WP CLI would like to align in some ways, they could just take all those templates and use inside their project as well.
Sure. Then, yeah, one more thing about the structure. We have the templates folder where just the different template files are located. And then we also have this templates.js file where the predefined block templates, the ones that ship with the create block package, they have some just options, default values. They have an option whether WP scripts is enabled or disabled, and by default it is enabled. And we will also need to add our new example to that list for now until it will be possible to pull it from externally. Cool. And Craig, do you want to?
Yeah, you also could scroll down in this file, because there is a larger list of values that we probably will have to modify. So in here, so those are the defaults for every template that would be ever created. But the idea is that every template can override the defaults. So this is the value that is presented when you are using when the prompt shows up on the screen. Yeah. What was your question?
I wanted to ask whether you wanted to start with just duplicating the ESNext, or just start by copying over.
If I would have to create another template, I would probably do that this way.
Cool.
The same as when someone starts, the journey with blogs, they will probably use one of the scaffolded blocks and try to tweak some values just to see what happens. So that could be similar experience.
Cool. Oh, then we will just
you can copy and paste.
Just paste it and rename it into the, what should we call it for this?
You can use the same name. It doesn't matter.
Basically, is next. Cool. And then I will just open this on the side. Oh, that is the wrong one. This one on the side, so we can just copy our stuff over. And sure, so I have this open on the side, and we can probably like the editor config, the git ignore, those two the same.
So let me explain this. Editor config is a special file. It's copied from WordPress repository. It's just the setup for the IDs, just to make sure that all the files are formatted in the same way. Git ignore is for usage with Git. It ensures that some of the most popular folders aren't committed, like node modules, which we don't want to store in the repository because it sometimes takes like hundreds of megabytes. And what else do we have? We have CSS and PHP and JavaScript files, and also there is this README text there, which is also it's something based on some recommendation from the WordPress documentation.
Sure. Awesome. But I think we can leave the editor config, the git ignore, and the styles. We might have to look whether there are styles in there, but leave them for now. Same for the README. And I don't think there's anything we need to change in the PHP file as well, is there?
Oh, it depends, because I think Basic doesn't contain CSS styles, so then we will have to remove some.
Okay,
Just need to
yeah,
open
yeah,
that
it looks
and
like
we
it.
will see.
Cool. Yeah, over here, it doesn't look like there are any CSS files. So we can go in here and where we're registering the script and then we're registering the CSS, and I'm just taking those out for now. And same with the block style and block editor style. So we can remove that and just have the register block type function enqueue the editor script. And then I can also delete the two files from here. And then we can go into the actual source folder. And in here, there's currently only one file. Should we split? Oh yeah, we can also remove the edit and save files from our copied folder and just put everything into one file. Or do you want us to split it up into
Yeah, you can do it. It's up to you.
Cool.
I mean,
then
for
I
the
will remove
for the
those
initial
two.
experience, that might be easier to not bother with importing files.
Sounds right. Yeah, we are importing the same two dependencies, register block type, and then the underscore underscore for internationalization. And we can leave the comments for that. We don't need the internal dependencies since we're only doing it in one file. And yeah, we can leave the namespace and the slug for it. Currently, yeah, we will just change the icon in the default values in a minute when we register it. So I think the only thing we need to really change here is the actual edit and save.
Yeah, and also we don't need support in here.
Yeah, correct. We can remove that.
I mean, cool. I would argue we need it, but that's not so important.
Then we can, yeah, just basically copy over the entire edit block and put it in here. And same goes for the save slot, and put that in. And with the block style, it used that in, so that would also need to be added to the top. And then we can add another comment just to let everyone know what's happening.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of repetition to have all those comments. However, depending on the stage people would start the tutorial, I think it's still valuable to have those inline hints that you can always disable. Also, we might provide a flag for the CLI tool just to disable all comments if someone doesn't want to have them. So for the something to think for the future.
That sounds like a good idea. Cool. So I've added the block styles and the changed the edit and save method. And I think that's everything we need to change in here. The only thing we need to add now is add it to the templates.js file and add the default values up top there.
Yeah.
And then we can give it a try whether it works.
Looks like super simple task to do.
First problem, we had a hyphen in our, or just, sorry, a dash in our name. And would that be supported, or would we need to
No.
Yeah, we would need to calcase it.
You will have to just wrap it as a string, like a string. No, you don't have to rename it.
Okay, so will the scaffolding find the...
No. What you need to do here is you just need to use string, like, wrap this inside the string.
Can we do that inside the object as the...
Yes.
Okay, yeah, then that was Correct. Yeah, my mistake.
No worries.
Basic, yes, next. And do you have anything else here? Just or and we currently don't have this, but we can copy over the icon. And I think when I'll check at the, these are again all the available options, and it's named dash icon. So we will also provide the default for that. And the default category will be layout. That is, yeah, category. Besides that, I think we can leave the rest as is. And
I guess so.
Actually give it a try.
Yeah.
So I've just opened up the terminal, and in order, because I'm not pulling the tool from NPM, I'm just testing it out locally. So what I want to do is I want to run this index.js file using Node, or do you have a better way of testing it locally?
Oh, so there are a few ways to doing that. One of them is using npx, which is a way to execute binaries from the Node modules folder. So there is a binary defined for this file that is called wp-create-block. So you can just go and run npx wp-create block.
At WP or just WP?
No, WP. Create block. Create dash block. And you provide the name of your template.
And that was basically is next. Okay, currently for me it's trying to...
Okay, I know why, because you are in the create block subfolder, so you just need to go up. So we tried to install it from NPM.
Yeah, so now I've changed my directory to actually the Gutenberg directory, and just clear that. And now I'm trying the same thing again, npx wp-create-block, and specifying the template. And let's see. Okay, so now that works. So now we can just, yeah, it's giving us the default options that we put in. Yeah, the default title, the description, it has the correct icon in here. The layout is the default category, and we just go through here. And then you will see that once it installs everything,
it should be somewhere up in the folder structure because you are now in Gutenberg.
Yes. Doesn't it place it within the same folder they create blockers, or does it create it where it's happening?
No, it's from the folder you executed the command, which was the Gutenberg.
Correct, yeah. Then let's go into the Gutenberg folder, and there it is. The basically is next. Let me open that up as well. And even though it's still executing something, it's already here, but we should wait for this to finish running. Cool. So now you can see just the build folder also appeared, and it has everything in here. When we open it up, you can see what we just did. It has the block styles in here. It has all of these scaffolded elements. I should also remove the comment here because that's not correct anymore. But this is our scaffolded out.
Yeah. Are you able to run that inside your WordPress, like copying to the WordPress instance and trying if that actually works? That would be nice.
Let me just quickly get the site up and running.
So in the meantime, there was this comment from Jessica. I wonder if it would be good to set up some best practices for these templates that will be contributed, which might include that style should be set up in your blog, ideally. So especially continuing on that in the Gutenberg examples, it makes sense not to have them for learning purposes, but for the scaffold, it seems like a bit of a nuance. And I totally agree. So we are just showing how that might work, just porting existing templates that we already have inside tutorials, but outside of tutorials, this example is super simple. It's like we removed more than we added. So the idea would be that we rather provide more advanced example. If in those examples for tutorials, the example 5 or 6 that are quite advanced, and they seem like a very good way to experiment with your own blog template. And also I see that, as Fabian mentioned, that some teams that work on blogs, they just want to have something more customized, like having their own names for subfolders. They are maybe using different tooling. Maybe they are not using Git, or they just rely on SVN as a default approach. And there might be some integration. Some people, I know they are using GitHub workflows. So once they commit to GitHub, it just deploys the code somewhere. So there are, many things that people might find useful, but the default one, it's something that will be always optimized toward the best experience for someone who wants to create a blog. So I envision that once the blog directory is up live with WordPress 5.5, I hope it happens, then the example, the default one, when you don't specify any template name at all, it would be something that creates the blog that you just could, in theory, publish right away to the blog directory. How is it going in the meantime?
Yeah, I just cloned a new or created a new local site, and I've copied the folder over, and it's in here, for example, today. And why is it not opening up? Let me just spin up a site here real quick. Now just start a new site here. Just a scratch WordPress site, and opening that up, example, and just adding into our plugins folder.
So yeah, another way of doing that would be you just could go once that's tool is published to NPM. So another way for usage, if you want to consume that, is that you go to the same folder as Fabian is going now, and just run this command inside this folder. So just another idea I have is that maybe we could have a way to specify path, just to make it easier for people, so they just don't need to go directly to this folder.
Or if the create block thing, scaffold is used when you're working on just an actual block plugin that doesn't need to be integrated into a site right away, you could use the dev environment that's included in the WP scripts.
Yeah, this is what I'm doing when I'm, playing around. So there is another package called env, and it has this binary name wp-env, which just helps you to use Docker and all the already out of the box provided instance of WordPress that is tailored specifically to implement to development of blocks or plugins that are based on JavaScript.
Cool. So I have inside the plugins folder here, I have the basic EXNext example. I've just activated that. And when I create a new block, I should be able to basic EXNext, and I can insert this, and it shows me hello step 1 from the editor. And when I publish that site, you can see hello from the front end. And this is just what we set up. There's no interactivity, just the basic EXNext example from the Gutenberg examples that we just ported over to one of the templates.
Yeah, great job. You did it. So now, having that tool, that should really make it much simpler for people. I think that would be valuable to show one day also a do a similar stream and show how to use this WP env you mentioned, because if you combine those two, then it's really powerful. It makes everything so much easier.
Yeah, and that's also something with the external templates. You could just in the package, or also with the internal templates, just in different templates, you could have the WP env kind of already set up in one of the templates where you just have everything already inside the one template and use that to start with. Just depends on what you want your project to be.
So you are saying that this WP env allows you to specify multiple plugins, like in the configuration, you can provide multiple paths to plugins?
What I meant was that currently in the EXNext template for the create block, all of the WP env isn't configured, but or the WP env as part of the WordPress scripts isn't configured. But one of the templates could, of course, just configure that and add that to it. Yeah,
actually, that one is something I would even consider as one of the options that would be behind the flag, like an advanced one. Yeah. So if someone wants to use it, that could be. But because many people, I believe, they have their own tools that allow them to develop with WordPress or even test with WordPress, like Flywheel or VVV or whatever. There are so many tools.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it all depends on your use case. Yeah. Okay. So maybe now you could present your proof of concept for the same thing, but working for something that's external. Like a remark from start that. In the meantime, while you were working, I just provided some changes to the code base just to make it easier to integrate that, so that the way how it's structured differs a bit. However, the whole idea is just the most important thing that we have here. So feel free to continue.
I'm sharing my screen again. And then I've just switched to the branch that I've been working on. And let me clean up.
Yes, I guess that's the easiest way.
And then I can go from here. So again, I'm just opening up the actual Gutenberg development folder in the actual create block folder in my code editor. And from here, I need to close down the terminal.
So what you are doing, Doug, there was another question from Jessica. So if we want to contribute templates to the create block project, should we push them to NPM or to the templates folder in create block? Yeah, we haven't settled on that yet. So it's still in discussion in the issue I also posted in the chat on YouTube. It's hard to tell. Probably we'll start with having them locally because they don't take so much space, so that shouldn't be a concern in terms of the amount of download size you would have for the package, but that would make that easier. However, I anticipate that we would move that to separate packages on NPM once the work on the feature that Fabian will show soon is done. So definitely cool. For now, for providing, I mean, so just to be clear, the whole concept is to have as little templates as possible inside the create block, the package. So the ESNext and ES5, that would be probably in the ideal world, that's all we need to support. And the tutorials, they would exist outside of that. And also third party, that should be, that definitely is something for NPM. Also, just to explain that once we discussed with Fabian how it could be implemented, we were looking at Create React app because they also support templates, and what they do, they also have this way of providing local paths, so you could have copy templates from someone, put it inside your folder on the disk and just reference that. So that would be another way of doing so. So, you know, it's something that we should definitely discuss and find the best solution. Okay, sorry, Fabian, you can continue.
No problem. So what I did to be able to actually test this out, I just took the ESNext example that is currently located in the templates folder and pulled it out into its own kind of folder in its own project. And you can see it has the source folders, it has the editor config like earlier, the git ignore, all of the files. In addition to that, it also has 3 files that are not Mustache files. It has a package JSON in order for me to be able to publish it to NPM. It has a README file just to give some basic information, and it has the most important thing here, a template.json file, where again, we're specifying the default values the same way that we did in the templates folder earlier. And with this, yeah, I've added the default icon, the category, those things. And then I just published this to NPM. So this basic ESNext example currently is available on NPM under the name Gutenberg-ESNext-example. And this is just to test out the scaffolding tool. So when I copy over that file or that name, and again, open up my terminal and clear that and run the create block command again, but instead of passing it the local template name of one of the local templates, so I could either have ES5 or ESNext for the local ones, I'm passing it the name of the NPM repository. And with this, it will, I'm still in the same folder. Let's also add my block. Oh, that was, I've added that before the flag. Yeah, also specifying the name and here. And this should, yeah, it's creating the new block. It's basically doing the same exact process than what we saw earlier. But while installing the packages and while doing all of this, it is not pulling from these two. It is actually downloading the package from NPM and using that to scaffold it out. And I'm opening up the Finder again just to go to the correct folder, because it should show up here under the name my blog in a minute. There, oh, it's already here, but it's still pulling stuff down. And so for you, it doesn't really look, or for any of us, it doesn't really look much different, but these files were not coming from the templates folder. They were actually pulled from NPM.
Yeah, what could help is just you could just now change something inside your repository, commit it, publish to NPM, and just try the process again just to prove that it's coming from there. So it's also shouldn't be that hard to do it, right?
Yeah, that's.
But it also would be great to show the process for publishing to NPM. So one thing that you need to go to npm.org and create an account there. It's for free. And once you have that, you need to probably do NPM login just to provide your credentials. Is there anything else required?
I think when you, inside of the folder where you want to publish it, when you run npm publish, it will prompt you to log in to do everything that you need. So you can just open up the folder and then it'll prompt you for everything to get you up and running.
Yeah, you are right. Also, there is this npm who am I command, which allows you to check whether you are logged in or out.
Cool. So I will just, to quickly have something here, add a comment at the top of the file saying I was here.
Yeah. So what's the URL? So what's the name of the package? Gutenberg.
It's Gutenberg next example.
Maybe I will show you
template, correct. So I'm just adding I was here, and then I'm running npm version minor just to bump the version number up, and then I'm running npm publish. And it will ask me for a one-time password, so I'll just quickly grab that. And that should be npm, just copying that. And now it's uploading into NPM. And on the website, you should be able to see that the version number, well, it was still, 0.3.0. It should now be 0.4.0. And when I run the same exact command again, it will take a minute again. And let's hope that it's not cached anywhere in between.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a few minutes, sometimes even a few hours. So, it depends.
Let's see, and under the my block, I can already open that up. And it's already in there. So it already pulled the correct version. So this is using the other version from NPM. So this is pretty cool, but it's just downloading the external package like this. Cool. And did you share the link of the actual pull request for that yet, so people can try it out there?
I will just find it. But it looks like Birgit needs to do all the URL sharing because of some security reasons. Okay, I will find that. So I'm really excited about that because, as you can see, it's quite easy to to build your own templates, and also with that, it's quite maybe not so straightforward for testing. However, if you will do this trick that you will use create block and develop the template inside there and copy it over there, that would be much simpler. Also, I believe that once you have some sort of packages, you could just install it inside your Node modules folder and just edit it directly there. Some people use that. There are even tools that allow that, but I don't know the names, so I won't share them. And the PR from Fabian. Yeah, I think we will shortly wrapping up. I think we covered a lot today, and it's really exciting to see the progress of on your PR. And so let me check again on YouTube if we. Oh, thank you, Birgit, for posting the URL for the NPM package. And there's another question from Jessica. Nice. Can you explain why you typed in my blog before the -t to name the folder instead of going into interactive mode? Yeah, do you want to take that, Fabian?
I wasn't sure whether the interactive mode left the template in there, or whether kind of what the reasoning why I switched it up is because I wasn't sure whether the interactive mode had the template wired up yet or not. So it was just the current state of the development.
Yeah, so just to like expand on that. So by default, if you don't provide any parameters or options, then it launches interactive mode that asks you about all the values and you need to enter them. However, there is also a way to provide the name of the folder that you want to scaffold, which also becomes the name of the plugin and the name of the blog. And this way you don't have to provide any values. It assumes that you are happy with the defaults. So this is also the way, if someone thinks that I have no idea what that means on the CLI, I just want to start a way, that's the best way to do it. And then once you discover, oh, I would like to change this particular thing, then you, okay, this is a description, so let's go and run that again and provide a different value. And also there are a few more options. Can you, Fabian, can you, oh, you are not sharing screen. So if you run NPM, that's complex because the way Node works, it by default, you install your packages using npm install and the name of the package. If you want to use a package that can be run from CLI right away, that means it has an executable file defined, then you can use this npx shortcut. It's something the same as you would write npm install my package and then do execute that binary. So it just combines into one command. And the third one is npm init. So this is like on top of those two ideas, and it's just a shortcut of installing locally with npm install, then running npm npx with create prefix. So it just, you know, it's just a nicer way, and it also provides the intent that you are using that here. Yeah, so to continue on that, yes, interactive mode should work with npm templates and without, I mean, general interactive mode and quick mode, they should work the same, regardless if you are using templates that are local or from npm. There is no difference. And I hope that clears a bit the situation. Yeah, okay. Are there any other questions? Yeah, I see that Birgit, she's sharing now more links. There's a bit of delay.
Well, well, that was fabulous. I really like what you did there. Thank you so much. We are still entertaining some questions, so if you want to, I'm also sharing some more links that I shared at the beginning, but now that we all know what those links are, I'm sharing them again.
And also this PR from Fabian, if someone wants to help to shape that and also play in the current state. So we definitely need to work more on the structure of the config file for the template. So the one that Fabian shared, it's an old one, and based on that, I applied some changes. So one of them is that you will be able to provide the folder name where those template files written in Mustache will be located. So by doing that, you don't need to specify all those large lists. So, you know, some templates could provide like 20 files. It would be counterproductive to list them all and also error prone. So it just will scan the folder and find all of those ideas. And we are also thinking about providing more granular control over WordPress scripts. So this is the tool that we are using behind the scenes to do the building, formatting of the files, linking. It's growing. So, but also what Fabian mentioned is that some projects, they have their own workflows. They might be willing to use something else. So they could like define dependencies and, you know, install them. So it's everything is still being discussed, and you will, you know, improve that.
Very cool.
Super cool. Yes. All right. I think that concludes. Is there anything else that you wanted the people to know?
I'll just thank you, Birgit, for doing all the technical aspect, because, you know, it was like a last minute. I didn't figure out how to do YouTube Live, do the screen sharing. It looks like a lot of work. It's hard to set up.
Yeah, but I like those pickup live streams. So yeah, ping me up. You saw I only needed about 10 minutes to set it up. So
yeah, there's one more question. So maybe what process should we follow when we want to contribute a template to avoid doubling up work and having people work on every single blog template? So we shared issue, we shared PR, so we should coordinate there. I don't think there are other places where we can discuss. We could discuss that maybe in Core.js channels on WordPress Slack. It's hard to tell, really. So definitely you can reach out to me on WordPress Slacks, and I can help to find a good place. But I believe that this discussion on next step for blog directory is very related to the work we are doing here. And I know that Marcus MCAS on GitHub, he has some great ideas. He's willing to use his own tutorial for creating blogs, just like a baseline. So we will be probably working closely with him to port all those templates he has there. And also this is discussed in the issue I mentioned.
All right. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, just, yeah. So thank you everyone for watching and for the great questions, and especially to Fabian for showing around all the code.
All right. Great job, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.